This is Dr. Cora Bruner, and I'm here to talk about exercise. How important is it to exercise during this time? Very important. It's important to keep our heart going and our lungs going, and we get to breathe much cleaner air right now, which is fabulous. But exercise is key, especially when you do it outside or even inside. I know that many of my patients and their families are doing YouTube videos for fitness or Zumba or yoga, so it's possible to do it inside too. If you have a pet, you need to make sure that pet gets walked or gets some playtime with you so that you can keep yourself fit. It's important to be aware that our minds are clearer when we exercise. We're less depressed when we exercise. And one of the things that's really interesting is that when we are depressed, it's harder to exercise. But that's the time we're supposed to, because afterwards, I'm sure all of us know this, once we get 10 or 15 minutes of a pretty intense workout, those feelings of depression and hopelessness go away. Also, if we're anxious, it's important to exercise, because when you're worried about something and then you just say, okay, I'm just going to do 20 minutes of yoga or 40 minutes of a fitness video, I'm not anxious anymore. What's up with that? Well, there's a lot of research and data that do show that both depression and anxiety improve with exercise. And what else improves with exercise? Sleep. We know from a lot of research that when we exercise during the day, our sleep is much more restful and that we have an easier time falling asleep, which is important. How much exercise are we supposed to get every day? Well, the research shows that at least 20 minutes a day, but preferably 40 or even 50 minutes every single day, 7 days a week, is extremely important. And what does that exercise mean? Well, we call it exercise so that you can't really pass the talk test. And what is the talk test? It means that it's very hard to talk to somebody when you're exercising so much. So that's the talk test, which means that if you can't really talk very well, then you're exercising a perfect intensity. And that should be somewhere between 20, 40, or even 50 minutes every single day. And important to refuel after that exercise. So if you're going to do that kind of exercise, make sure you give yourself some time to cool down and make sure that you are refueling after you've exercised. So how do we get our teens to exercise when they don't want to? That's a big challenge, especially if they're super interested in another 2 or 3 hours of Fortnite or Minecraft or some other video game. How do we get them off the sofa and into an exercise pattern? Well, this is something to actually have them be part of the process. So you would start the day with structure, which is to say to your child, teenager, we're going to spend some time exercising today. What would you like to do? And offer them some options. Sitting is not one of them. So they could take the dog for a walk, or they could do a fitness video with their friends through Zoom. They could do a class with their parents. They could go to their gym or virtually, or they could go to their garage, which is what we've done, and created a gym in our garage because it's there and the cars aren't really going anywhere and the gyms are closed. So we're spending about 30 to 40 minutes every day lifting weights, my son and I, every day. Got some guns, but it's fun and it's his choice. And I've never really been a weightlifter, but I am now. But it's important to actually have the teenager pick for themselves what they want to do as opposed to do what you want to do. Because remember what I said before, this is the time when teenagers are supposed to individuate, separate, and have some autonomy. So they may not always want to do a class with mom in the yoga studio, which is pretty normal. So it's important to allow them that. But I don't want to do it, and not doing it at all is not an option. So you have to provide multiple options for your teenager, and they have to pick one of those. But not doing it at all is not an option. And again, it's important to say this not because you as a parent are the authority and say you do this because I said so, but it's because you as their parent love them and you want them to be physically active and you want them to be happy and to enjoy this beautiful planet and to enjoy their lives. And the way they can do that is by exercising. And when you leave that choice up to a child, of course they're going to choose to say no if you as a parent say, I need you to do this or else. They won't do it. But if you offer them, well, you get to help pick out what exercise you do or we do together. And then it works out. And then ultimately, by the end of the day, hopefully, your child will thank you for getting them off the couch. Also, it's important to understand that many of our teenagers are struggling with eating disorders, binge eating, or other types of eating issues that can be actually made worse during this time. So while I make sure that we have exercise in our daily routine, there are some kids that will overdo that, especially kids with an eating disorder, and they may go out and exercise for 2 or 3 hours, which is way too much, and not refuel after that. So I need to be careful with my patients who are struggling with this, or our patients that are overeating or not eating throughout the day and then eating a whole lot, or something called binge eating in the evening. All of these things can be a lot worse during this pandemic, during this stay-at-home time, because there's not much else to do. So that's why structure is important, and that we provide really healthy food for these kids and their families. It's hard to go to the grocery store right now, but it's important to understand that we still need fresh fruits and vegetables in our house, which are available at the stores. You just have to figure out how you're going to get to the store in a safe time, or you can have it delivered. But it's important to understand that fresh fruits and vegetables are extremely right now. Many people turn to carbohydrates just to feel better, but too many carbohydrates is not a good idea. We need to make sure we have enough protein and fat in our diet as well, and make sure that we stay on top of dairy and other products containing calcium for our growing bones.